Welcome back to the WeBus podcast, a place where fathers come together to share real experiences, build brotherhood, and remind each other that none of us were meant to do this alone. Today's episode is a special one because we're talking about something that has become a huge part of the WeBus experience, and that's WeBus Camp. If you've ever felt like life is moving a little too fast for you, if you've ever wished you had more time with other dudes and understand what it's like to be a dad, or if you just need a few days to reset, reconnect, and to be around real conversation instead of this constant noise that we have, that's exactly what camp is all about. And joining me today is the guy who makes it all happen, our WeBus director, Beejan. Beejan is the one behind the scenes helping design the experience, organize the logistics, and make sure that when dads show up to camp, they leave feeling stronger, more connected, and more grounded. Bijan, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Heck
It's a
yeah.
pleasure to be here.
My gosh, dude. Well, hey, tell everybody kind of what brought you into WeBus and how you became camp director.
I mean, it started back in, I think I was one of the OGs with you back in 21. And,
Yeah.
Wes, Wes was my level 1 instructor. And when I got into CrossFit and when I met him, I told him I wanted to open up a CrossFit gym. And he helped kind of push me and ended up doing that. So I was friends with you on Instagram as well as just in the CrossFit world. And you put out a real message that I just kind of felt drawn to about looking for dads who just wanted to get together and talk. And so obviously I had a lot of respect for you as my L1 instructor and friend. And so I was like, yeah, I'm in. I had 2 kids at the time and, they don't train you for this path you're on. So I was like, okay, I want to see what this, it was more of whatever Wes wanted to do. I'm in, let's do it, So joined in and history was written. It was probably one of the best things that I did for myself, for the guys that were in the group. And so when we started forming this thing, I had to take a step back, I know, for like about a month or 2 for some family issues. And when I came back, we were talking about camp and I said, hey, with my background in organizational leadership, like running programs, running things like this is what I do. So I was like, why don't I run the camp? Like, let me put the whole thing together, build a curriculum, build the activities. I'll take care of food planning. I'll take care of everything. And you guys, thought it was a great idea. And we just led with that.
Heck yeah, man. I can't think of anybody else that could do it better. Like just the events that this guy would put on at his gym, the way his community grew as fast as it did, just really showed us, obviously, this guy cares about people, right? And it was like, dude, number one, like this is so much work to put on a camp where you've got men coming from now all over the world, not just like, a couple different states coming together, but we got guys coming from New Zealand. We got guys coming from the Midwest, from the West Coast, like East Coast, all over the place, coming to this one spot to hopefully have a weekend that they're going to remember forever and really be stoked that they came to it. So why does coming to WeBus Camp even matter for people? Like, what does it do for them?
Well, I think kind of the feedback we got and just also my personal experience with it, we use Marco Polo as our app and it is a face-to-face kind of interaction through video sharing. But there's something about like you build this bond, but it's like you can't, like I couldn't reach across the screen and just give you a hug and tell you thank you, for the stuff that you did for me. And so I think once it was like we all got together and it was like we've never met each other, first time meeting, and all of a sudden we're just embracing like all these other guys with such passion and just like redefined respect for them, because it was like, dude, I never hugged you, but I feel like I know you. And I think that made camp more special for me than anything was being able to see the people who have helped guide me in this life of being a father, So that was the big thing for me was being with them and getting to just hang out with them, knowing all that we're going to bring to the table for each other.
Yeah, there's something special about what we get to create in WeBus through Marco Polo, where it's not a Facebook group where you're just typing back and forth and chatting back and forth and sharing pictures and sharing memes and whatever. It's like, it is real face-to-face interactions. So much so that like, I felt like I knew every single guy that showed up there at WeBus Camp but I just hadn't, like you said, I hadn't seen how tall they were, or I hadn't actually understood, what are their little ticks that they have, and what types of foods do they like, and like because we talk about such deep stuff on WeBus, and we dive into problems that these guys are having. So I think one of the things that really was like cool for me was to just get to shoot the shit with them
Yeah.
and get to like know them on a level that was kind of surface in a sense because we did know each other on such a deep level already. It was a really cool way to make camp less didn't feel like there was an agenda that I had, like, oh, I've got to get to know these guys. I got to really, I only have a couple days to get to know these people and to see if I want to be friends with them. It was like, dude, we are friends. Now we just get to chill and hang out together and learn from these amazing experts that are coming out to teach and, workshops we're doing and breakout groups and whatever else, letters to our daughters and to our wives and stuff that we're writing. So let's talk a little bit about that, like the camp experience. Walk us through what it's like to come to camp.
Well, it's our last one was in South Dakota, Rapid City. Everyone flew in, and some people drove from a neighboring state. But arriving, it was literally like 15, 20 minutes of just everyone embracing each other, just noticing how tall some of these guys were. Not just seeing this portion of their faces. Um, we kind of had everything set up. We knew where people were going to be sleeping. We had, the whole workbooks, everything just set up for them. So it just got situated and
Felt a little bit like the old school Real World where they showed up and everybody's like, "Where's my room? And who am I
yeah,
with?" And
we
like,
were cracking jokes about that being like the old MTV, the old
yeah,
sitcoms back in the day. And so it was cool, man. Like, and then, people just started hanging out. And that was the best part. It wasn't like anyone was sitting off in the corner in their room. It was like everyone was just out in the living room or outside in the sun and they were just chatting and talking, and it was a lot of fun, like that portion when they first arrived. And I think we got our first one in, I think it was later that night. I think we got our first activity that we
yeah, yeah,
first
yeah.
breakout. So everyone arrived and I knew a few other people showed up like a day later because of just their flights and everything got postponed. But we had it was a good showing. So it was nice to see everybody arrive and be ready and just at a level of, readiness kind of, to start.
Yeah, the anticipation, I remember trying to, getting there and being like, "Okay, well," I even knew what we were gonna be doing, and I was excited about it and nervous about it, and so, yeah, we showed up, got settled, and then we did a breakout group that night kinda just to get to know each other a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
Walk us through that next day and what it was like to wake up the next day and go through the
Yeah.
events.
We told everyone that they were going to have a little lie-in, but we're going to try and wake up early. The thought process was people learn more if they have exercised. Your neurons, electrons are running at full capacity. So we try to get as many people up as we could to go outside and do a workout, which I know you and Jeremy would lead. And I started getting breakfast ready and cooking. And so we all had breakfast together after the workout. And then we went straight into whatever the first for that day, whatever our first curriculum was. And we spent, we thought it was going to be like 45 minutes to an hour, and it's like the amount of in depth that these guys took it on, it took 3 hours, and it was fine. Like we had planned, we knew we were going to be okay, but it was just 3 hours of sitting. And our first one to me was the most powerful one. It was our strength and vulnerability, and it was in the big living room. And we literally just went one person at a time, just tell us who you are about, and then just tell us something about you that nobody knows. And I think because of the bond that we had through the Marco Polo experience of WeBus, you know, everyone just, they opened up some crazy experiences, some dark truths that they felt comfortable, safe with us to express this. We had a new guy who joined us just for the camp, and this dude went all out, like to where he was crying, and it was beautiful. It was like this did exactly what it was supposed to do. It created that vulnerability for us to all be around each other and understand that we're all just humans, and so through these next 3-4 days, we're going to learn how to become better fathers, better husbands or spouse, and just better leaders and men. And so it was a very, very good one. we had lunch and then we'd do another curriculum and then we have like hangout sesh at the end of the day there as well too. So, it's like even when we're done, we're still out there and so we're still talking. We're still talking about what's going on in life. And, we had a really cool, I forget the name of that game, man, but we had a really cool game outside that we were all just wanting to play. And so definitely built that bond.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, like, there's a lot of different men's retreats out there. What makes WeBus Camp different than all of those other men's retreats?
I think our camp is it's an extension of the WeBus group of like what we do on our app with Marco Polo. So I know with a lot of like these retreats you go to, it's like, hey, come to us. We're going to spend a week. We're going to teach this, this, and this. And then it's like the camp's over and it's kind of until next camp. With us, when you join the camp, even if you're like, the one gentleman who joined, he then joined WeBus after and has become a part of that, So it's like people come to our camp. It's not just to get away for 3-4 days and kind of detox from life. It's to become a better person. But then it's so that we all know, like, hey, Wes, I know that you said this during camp and I don't think you're doing it right now. So I'm gonna hold you accountable, So
Yeah.
it's an everyday experience. The camp is just let's take what we normally do and let's make it a little different so that it impacts our lives a little bit more. Right.
Yeah. That
The camp.
in-person experience can't
Yeah.
be replaced for sure.
Yeah. And so to me, it's one, it's keeping it fun. That's, we all like to have fun, but I think it's just giving a little twist in what we do. And then it kind of allows us to dig even deeper in the Marco Polo experiences as we progress out of the camp. So I think where we differ is that we don't just look at it as it's just a camp 5 times a year and that's all we do. The camp's just an extension, but with a little field trip.
Yeah, totally. Love it. We talk about in WeBus the power of shared experience. What have you seen happen when a group of dads spend a few days together in that kind of, shared experience only style environment?
It gets raw because, it's like every one of us wants to act like this is what you should do, which has no emotion behind it. But if I'm saying like I'm having an issue in my marriage or I'm having an issue with my kids and you've been through this experience, it's still something that could be raw for you. So when you're explaining to us like, hey, these are the things that I went through and this is how I dealt with it. What you notice is this more of a raw emotion behind it. And I don't know about a lot of people, but for me, if I can sense like raw emotion when someone's like, I know that like, there's not just truth to it, but it's like, okay, this meant something to this person, so I should listen. Whereas like advice, it's like, oh, that's what you should do. It's like, okay, well, you're just telling me what to do, but have you done it? Has it happened to you? And so to me, it's seeing that vulnerability and the emotions that it brings up. Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, a huge thing for me was just noticing how that I wasn't alone in like 99.9% of the things that I thought were, the only I was dealing with. Every single dude there had either been through that, had gone through that themselves in the past, or knew somebody who had gone through that, right? And so it really validated me around being around a bunch of very successful, awesome, getting after it dads. They're like, heck yeah, I've been through that. That's what forged me into the person I am today. And it's like, wow, it really helped me heal from a lot of that stuff. So yeah, very,
you got dads that have kids that are grown and moved out. You got dads that are just had a baby 8 months ago.
yeah,
So it's no matter what stage of life you're in that fatherhood, there's people who have done it, and so it's kind of good to see that.
this year we're heading to Nampa, Idaho. What are you most excited about for being in Nampa this year?
One, I've always wanted to be in Idaho. I don't know. It's just a place I've always wanted to go to. So this is kind of a cool way to just kind of get out there. But when we were looking originally, we came up with I think a list of about 6. So we did Deadwood last year in South Dakota, and that was absolutely beautiful. I think the one thing we all kind of thought about was, oh, maybe if we find something with a little bit of a bigger airport closer by, so that we all had a little few issues with airlines, unfortunately, that time. But so I wanted something that was easy to get to from even the East Coast, and so Boise is obviously a little bit of a bigger airport than like Rapid City.
Yeah.
So I started doing research on where, like one, how much does flights cost and are they direct? Are they easy? Is there a ton of them? And that's what we noticed was that it was a lot there, but it was more What we loved about Deadwood was like where we stayed, it was just really like outdoorsy. Like there was like a lot of nature around us. And
Not a lot of light pollution, the stars at
yeah,
night was
we
amazing.
laid out there in the middle of the night and it was just, you saw everything, shooting stars. I mean, so that was kind of in the back of my mind, that I think one of the things we all agreed on was that to help us, to heal us, we talk a lot about like, the mind, body, and spirit, and just being grounded. So I wanted to find somewhere where there was Mother Nature everywhere. And if not, like we could go for great hikes with great views within a few, 20, 30-minute drive. And that's what we found. So we found that Nampa, we found a really cool location that we've reserved for the first 18 people. And if we get the waiting list going, then we have the option to up it to 30, which makes it great. So we found a great location. They got a lot of cool amenities in there. They got a cold plunge, little pond that stays in the 40s year round. There's hot tubs. It's got everything. So it's like, it was going to be great for the times we're there, but also there was so much to do within a 30-minute drive. So we were able to book that location and I'm stoked. I'm really excited for
Who should come to WeBus Camp?
it. Anyone who's looking for something where they can talk, and get the experiences that others have, man. Fathers, people who are looking to be better husbands, better dads, better people. That's what we tend to kind of work on during our seminars. So I think if you're someone who doesn't feel, and any dad looking for a 4-day camping trip.
Yeah, if you just need to get away, right? Come on by. All right, Bijan, this has been awesome, man. But before we go, we got 5 questions we ask everybody. I'm gonna ask you the same ones. Number 1, what is one lesson that fatherhood has taught you that really surprised you?
The true meaning of unconditional love. So I always heard that when you had a child, it's a different type of love than any other love. So one of the things I always tell everyone is, it's kind of like, you have 3 chambers in your heart. And when you're young, it's only the top, the 2 that are pumping: your family, your friends, your girlfriends, your wife. And then you have a baby and the third one starts to beat for the first time. And it's this new intoxicating love that you've just never experienced before. And it's different, but it's the best thing in the world.
What is one habit that helps you stay grounded as a father?
Well, I would definitely say working out. Definitely, if there's days where, you're stressed and I will go out and I will just run around a mile around the block real quick and come back. And then, so I don't lose my mind. So a big habit for me has been breathing through it. If I need to, I get onto Marco Polo, I vent and see if anyone else has had similar issues that they need, that they can kind of guide me through. And then, but exercise has been a big thing for me.
Heck yeah. What is something that you wish more men talked about openly?
How tough it is to be a man.
Mm,
I
say more.
think, I think people don't understand the burden we carry. If you are the breadwinner of the family, and some bills don't get paid, you know, people look at it differently. Whereas we look at it as a failure. Like, I should have been able to raise that money. I should have been able to do this. If there's stresses, I come home sometimes and let's say, you know, the house isn't as clean as it is. Like, I feel bad. Like, I should be cleaning it. Like, these are struggles like every man kind of goes through, is that, am I good enough? Am I giving my kids everything? And it's like, I focus so much on that, but then there's the other party where it's like, but am I giving them all the time that I should, And so to me, that's the biggest one.
What is one thing you hope your kids remember about you when they are adults?
That was one of the questions in our camp last year. I try to lead this world with love. And I'm a big believer in, regardless to what anyone's beliefs are, what anyone's anything is, if they are with you, you show them the absolute biggest love you can. And if someone needs something and you can give it, give it. If you see someone in need, help them. And to my kids, what I'm trying to teach them is, it's not about what you have, it's about what you can give to the rest of the world when they're in need. That's what dictates you as a human being. So
Right on. If you could sit across a campfire with anybody in history, who would you have a conversation with?
Well, my brother will laugh at me for this one. I'm a diehard soccer fan and one of the greatest coaches of all times. He's still alive, so it's not all time history, but his name is Sir Alex Ferguson. And Sir Alex Ferguson is one of the greatest coaches who can take teams of mediocre soccer players and win on the highest levels possible. And I've read a lot of his books, and it's his methodology of how he just teaches, not just soccer, but just teaches in life. And if I could sit across from him at a campfire and pick his brain to learn how to be a better coach, how to be a better mentor, because if I'm a better coach and a better mentor, then not only my kids, the guys on WeBus, but all these other people are going to benefit if I'm able to be a better person. So to me, it's learning how he was able to do it on such a crazy, kind of like scale, and see how can I benefit from that.
Beejan, thank you so much for joining us, my man. And thank you for making camp happen every year. Really appreciate you. And if you're a dad listening and this sounds like something you need a few days to reconnect, reset, and build real brotherhood, then head to WeBusINT.com to learn more about WeBus Camp in Nampa, Idaho this June. Until next time, keep showing up, keep sharing experiences, and we'll see you on the next one.